5. And Gigi, could you call the roll, please?
Back to my sheet. Thank you. Connie Anderson.
Here.
Joyce Dalton.
Here.
Kathy Dennis.
Here.
Gigi McKean-Mealy here. Roger Poitras not here. Billy Green not here. Braden Gallus not here. I think that's it.
Dwayne Hurt should be on your.
Oh, Dwayne, yeah, that's right, yeah. Dwayne Hurt is not here either.
Oh, no. Has he been, he's still assigned to us, isn't he, Phil?
Dwayne's on it, he's not a representative.
Oh, even though he's on the city council now?
Dwayne Hurt is? Not Dwayne,
Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dabney.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, we got too many with the
Right,
same
Dwayne, yeah.
Okay, did everyone get a chance to look at their minutes? I did have one correction, it's not a big issue, but under the advisory members,
Bless you.
Paul was not here, Paul's,
Oh,
yeah. So, Liliana and Deb were here. Did everyone else get a chance to look at it? Oh, and you didn't, I'm sorry.
I didn't, so.
Are there any other corrections or additions? I know Kathy didn't see it, but it was pretty short, Kathy.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as stated.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Did we get any correspondence to your office?
I spoke to Hattie. She's still on the agenda. She still doesn't know if she wants to move forward. I think probably at this point you should, I'm not sure what the process is for that, but maybe vote to have it off the agenda. It's been about 3 meetings.
Which one is that?
804 Cedar Street. She's the one that had the insulation, and so I did call her and tell her that she needed to come in or she needed to have a representative come in, and she's still just kind of...
That's the one we tabled before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Any comments or?
I think it's been tabled for 3. That's from November. So November, December, January. This would be month 4.
Then I would move that we remove that item from our agenda.
Can you clarify what the address is of that one?
804 Cedar Street.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion to remove. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. Will you then notify her that it's removed, or?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll give her a
I
call.
have a question while we're on this now. When we table something, is that just for to the following month?
Usually.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, okay.
But see, we canceled December.
Right, so,
No, we had December, we canceled January.
January.
yeah.
And that could have been,
So tabling basically just means.
It's usually a month.
Another month, okay, all right.
So we will keep it on for next time.
Unless,
No.
you
No.
can if you make a motion to table, I think you can, if you make a motion to table something, say, I table this motion for 3
Until-
months from now or
Right.
until such and such a date.
Right,
But if you don't give a date, then I think it means the following meeting.
okay. And so we just voted though to remove it from our,
because it's from November.
right, okay. I just wanted to be clear on that.
Okay, we'll go to our certificates.
We've only got one, but it has a lot of parts to it, so, and it's kind of changing a little bit, I think, from what was originally applied for. Just to give you a little background, Sue Downs and I, the building inspector, went out and met with the owner, Priscilla Griffith, and we looked over the project and talked about it a little, and so we didn't have real definite direction at the time this was filed. You do have a drawing that she submitted at the time that we discussed.
I have an updated architectural drawing
That's your
of porch and ramp as well.
So I think I'll start out with just bringing you up to speed a little bit on the building. And as well as I did a little research on the Sanborn insurance maps to know a little bit about the house and as far as the roof that was on it originally and whether or not there was a porch. So this house is a contributing structure. It's brick, gable front. It was built in 1875. So part of the proposed project is installation of a steel roof over the entire structure, as well as adding a porch with an ADA compliant ramp and an entry and shoring up foundation issues. And then when we were on site during the visit, we also talked about removing the chimney, painting the house, and possibly building a greenhouse in the backyard. So for a little background, the Sanborn insurance maps indicate a wood shingle roof on the house in 1884. That's the oldest map that I was able to access through 1912, which is the most recent. And then in 1884 and 1889, the house had no porch at all. So originally, no porch. Then in the 1889 map, a porch spanning the entire front appears. And it remains through the most recent available map, which is 1912. And it now has a half-round stoop with a couple columns there. So somewhere along the line, the porch disappears.
Seriously degraded and it's become a safety issue.
Right, so the old
Yeah.
porch went away and now they've got just this little stoop. So she's looking to put a porch back across the front. So what I'm saying by all this is there is some historic precedent for a porch being across the front of the house. It was not original, but not long after it was built, one came. So looking at the various things that we were talking about, starting with the roof. So the original roof on the property was wood shingle. It was replaced sometime after 1912 with asphalt shingles, which were a change of material but not profile. So the owner's proposing metal roofing for a longer lasting roof. While metal was available at the time the house was constructed, it is not original to the building. Replacement with asphalt shingles would retain the historic appearance of the house, although it is a substitute material for the original shingles. Staff recommends removal of existing shingles and replacement in kind with asphalt shingles. But if metal is approved as requested, it should be standing seam profile, not corrugated, with concealed fasteners, and in a color that would have been typical in 1875, so commonly a shade of gray.
That's what I want.
So that's the first item. Then secondly, gutters and downspouts. Those are not listed on the COA application, but they are on the quote from the roofer. The existing gutters are half-round profile with round downspouts. They're currently there, and that's what's recommended for that house, so I would recommend replacement in kind. It's not specified what kind on the quote, it just says gutters and downspouts. The chimney is not a character-defining feature of the house. It's very plain. There's absolutely no character to it whatsoever, and it's in poor condition. The roof leaks have developed in the chimney area. It just is a small straight chimney that goes up through the roof, doesn't go to the outside wall at all. So staff would recommend removal of the chimney when replacing the roof, provided nothing vents through the existing chimney. Then we get to the porch. The porch, and we now have a different design, but this was written this afternoon when I didn't have that. So, though not original to the structure, a porch spanning the entire front of the house was added 15 to 25 years after construction and would be appropriate to recreate. No photos have been found to verify the original style, but assumptions could be made based on typical styles of the period. The owner proposes incorporating the triple moon design in the sketch, which I think you all had that originally. So while the proposed design would not be typical on a house of this style and age, a possibility would be flat sawn porch balusters. Those were used during the last half of the 19th century, and those can be cut in a way to incorporate moons and stars. You've got a couple pictures of flat ones And in fact, this porch down here, it's hard to see because I didn't get it blown up big enough, but those are, the middle row actually are stars that are in that middle row. And that house was built in 1870, so it's a very similar age. And that one's rated outstanding, so that would be a way to get that.
Is that a local house?
That's in Goshen.
Oh, okay.
I ran over there this afternoon and took pictures. So, because I noticed it over the weekend, I was like,
No, I was gonna say, that's a new one to me.
so that would be a way that could be done that I think would be more appropriate to the house than the original proposed design. So the staff recommends approval of a new porch across the front facade with the design to be revised, which it has been, so we'll have to discuss that and submitted for final approval. Porch elements should all be wood because that would be fitting for the time period. So those are my porch recommendations. As far as the ramp goes, the ADA compliant ramp, a wood ramp with hand-turned wrought iron railing is proposed for the west side of the house and be connected to the proposed porch at that end. Staff recommends approval of the ramp. Foundation at the rear is deteriorating due to runoff from the building next door. Details of the repair are unknown, but
I have
You have
that
those?
on the iPad, I dropped my printer.
okay, well, we need to know that, so, but I would recommend conditional approval pending review of the details of that, and that's pretty important. Paint, owner proposes painting the house the same color as existing with a darker shade of blue trim. Staff recommends approval with staff to make final decision on the paint colors submitted from a Sherwin-Williams historic paint palette or equivalent. And then the greenhouse, before a recommendation can be made, we need more details. So I can't really say because I don't know what we're thinking there, so I would not act on that tonight. So that's all the pieces, parts.
Are you recommending this style of the pieces and still retaining this?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. No, something
really
more
have a problem with
appropriate
that,
for
yeah.
that age, something with some square columns, the railing to be something like that, and it was something simple at the top of it if there was. We had talked about it, well, we should look at her drawing and see what we've got now.
I have another concern about the porch design, not only, and I would like to see the update because
There was a
Yeah.
sketch.
this is so, the idea that it is so decorative
Yeah.
compared to this
This-
house, which is a more austere style.
That looks very good.
But the other thing that is off is that the porch is shown to come to the center of the house, and the door is over to one side,
Yes.
which means if you're trying to balance this, that it throws the ramp structure way off over to the side too, where it takes up much
She's
more of the-
actually redrawn the ramp on the west side of the building because the first time I went after the porch, they told me there wasn't enough room on that side of the building. And then when the ladies came out, they measured and said it would look better there, put it there.
Actually
So
is.
And that's the side that your little driveway.
I don't own the driveway.
But
I rent the driveway. The guy next door wouldn't sell it to me, so.
So it's a much better spot for
It
the
is a
ramp.
better spot, yeah.
It kind of tucks it back and it's
It
really not
blends
real
in more.
obvious. It
Yeah.
blends in much
And the
better.
way the architect designed it, she figured out how we didn't have to move the tree.
Great.
So
Oh, that's
I don't
good.
have to take a chance on killing.
She's got a really cool tree
I
that
got a
might
really
get in
cool
the
tree
way.
in my yard.
So we didn't want to see that risk losing that, but
The architect is calling this design Italian. Is that consistent with the house?
the house isn't really Italian, but it's
The
just
house
plain, it's from that period, but it has,
It's cited in the Andrews study as an Italianate. My house specifically.
in
And
the,
the proportions of the porch that she drew followed the 2/3, all the mathematical rules that were set forth by the study that they did.
But you would rarely put the porch at the center when the door is to the side, and I think that's what's awkward about it.
Well, what she's saying.
I didn't like the way it looked with the side approach. It looked like, oh yeah, by the way, go in here where, with a central approach, the house is grand. The house is stunning. I mean, it's a beautiful old home, and I feel that this, being in the Uptown Arts District, I'm trying to put a piece of art that's gonna last for 100 years. And
It was just not done, that'll put the entrance off.
Yeah.
And I mean, the porch, if it was going to be, if you're going to spend money to create a porch, it would not be very usable if it all becomes circulation space, because you've got to come up the center and transfer over to the door or over to the ramp. And so there's very little actual functional space because you're doing all that, but rather than having it come directly in where you could actually then have, presumably you want to have a sitting area off to the side?
No.
it's gonna be like about 10 foot wide from the depth of it. I mean, there'll be
Oh, that'll be nice.
room to
Well,
sit.
yeah, the ramp comes off right over here too, though. And
So the ramp comes right up to the door.
To
It
the
would add
door.
a lot of confusion, I think, if the ramp is
Yeah,
coming in
yeah.
and people are coming in and the door is there. It kind of breaks it up. I mean, I know ideally,
Otherwise, you
the-
do this very ornate balance thing, and it's facing a window. It would
Yeah.
just-
I mean, I know
it's
it's
jarring.
kind of odd, but
It's jarring, in my estimation.
it's,
Well, but the nice thing about that, though, you can put furniture on there and sit out there.
If she wanted
If
to.
you wanted to do that, I see, I understand.
If it came to the door, you'd have more room for furniture, right?
Well,
As
she has it.
it's
Oh, you
planned,
have less
you're
'cause of
probably
the
not
ramp.
seeing the plan, but here is
Yeah, I see.
the plan, so that you would come in and have to walk through this area, come over here and come in here, so that you're walking through all this space so that
So,
you
but
don't.
that's her choice to do that, right? Like, as long as we okay the
We got
porch. I mean, as long as we okay the porch, basically, then her option basically is to do it whichever way she feels.
Did you need to see this one again, Gigi?
No, but I think
Yeah,
that
I
we
think
have
it's
to
okay.
also determine whether or not it fits historically. But
Well, the ramp isn't historical, I mean, is it?
no, but we have to
No,
allow
but
No,
we have to allow the ramp.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, though, that is
Yeah.
what's creating
We
the
don't know what
issue.
the first one looks like. I mean, 95 chances out of 100 or more, the door and the steps line
Yeah.
up, but we
Yeah,
don't
don't
have no
know that.
picture. We have no idea what it
but
looks
we're
like.
going to have to, something has to give a little bit here, because we are required to have the ramp.
Mhm.
So I agree with you that the congestion that you would cause all in here to have the porch and the ramp.
I doubt if you're gonna have a lot of people coming up and down the ramp all the time. It's a long ramp, and it's off to
It
the
has to
side.
be, it has
Yeah.
to be the way
Yeah.
the lot is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the porch is 27
Okay.
inches high, so.
So are you gonna paint over your mural on the wall?
No, I will probably add to it once I can get another 5 feet higher. But I can't get any higher. I've got 4 sections of scaffolding, and I'm standing on a ladder on top of the scaffolding, so I'm done until I get more scaffolding or something to put the scaffolding on, so.
So the mural stays?
Yeah, I mean, unless I get a wild hair and decide to paint something else
No,
on
I
the
like
side
it,
of my
I think
house.
it's, I think it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'd like to finish the top of it, the sky. Donald Trump got elected and I just couldn't. That was when I started the mural, and then he got elected and I was just like, okay, I'm done for a minute, but I'll pick it back up eventually and finish the sky.
So when somebody asks about it, we can say it's his fault.
It's his fault it's not done. Yeah, no.
This is a very emotional house, isn't it?
I've been in this home for, since 2011. She was born in 2012. I mean, I've run a business in Michigan City for over 20 years. Hi, baby. This is Willow. She's gonna live in the house when I die. She wants it. Yeah, it's a good house.
I would also like to ask about the ramp. It's shown as having brick sides to it.
Well, I mean, it's a brick house, and I mean, I'd love to see it all clad in brick. but I would want to paint it because it's on a painted house. And
Yeah.
the last time I said something about brick, they were like, "Oh, red brick," and I was like, "No, the house is painted white."
Yeah,
that would be odd.
yeah.
But yeah, no,
Well,
so some kind of brick or some kind of brick design in with the lattice. I just don't want that crappy looking monstrosity that they have on combos.
I've seen, because the ramps are often, major element when you need to add them to an existing building, particularly when it's historic. And I've seen ramps that have been very beautifully done to suit the house. Typically, when some of the details for the top of it or are taken from the house. And I wonder if there might be something like that would be done. I find that the front of it, as it's drawn there with creating another solid wall, again, to me, I find jarring with the line of the porch where we've got this kind of pretty railing system that's being recommended, and then all of a sudden to stop and it become brick, where it's really signaling that this is something very different. And it would be nice if the ramp would actually kind of blend in with the rest of it.
Would it be more economical to not have a brick? I would think the brick would be quite expensive for the whole ramp.
I mean, it's not going to be cheap no matter what I do. So, I mean, we're a steel family. Steel is the resource that we have access to at a better price than anybody else. And at the end of the day, no matter what, if I put the porch on and I get to make it out of the steel, when I'm dead, when I leave, when I sell that house, that can be scrapped.
We're not talking about steel, we're
no.
talking about the brick.
The brick on the
The facing, right?
handicap walk, yeah.
Yeah. You
I
can
just
still
thought it
build
would
the
look
structure
better.
out of if you're going to do steel with poured concrete on top of it.
Well, what I was thinking for the decking was to use the wood for the decking, unless you would let me use some kind of corrugated steel, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, like a fire escape kind of steel.
All that brick is going to be sort of overwhelming with, I think. I would rather see some kind of a wood to match.
Something that would fit in with the railing.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I would
However
think
you're doing
too.
the railing, could the ramp be made out of that same?
Well, yeah, but we have to come to an agreement on that before. She built the ramp and put what she thought would be. It's not a finished design by any means. I mean, I'm open to some
With your same,
suggestions.
with your same with resources to steel, it might be cheaper to do
Oh, it'll
that.
definitely be cheaper for me to
And
make anything out of steel
And
than
it
it's going to
would
be to make it out
probably
of wood.
blend more, like Gigi
Would be
said,
more
with
open.
the porch.
Right.
It would all be the same.
Well, I'm getting a little confused by what you're saying because I thought we were talking about it either being, and then we're talking about the banisters, wood or
Hand
brick.
turns.
And you're talking about steel. Where do you think it's going to be steel?
Instead of using 2x4s for the frame and the structure, we want to use steel.
Well, then nothing we've suggested would preclude that. You could do that regardless. And you can still put a concrete or wood deck on it?
With a wood deck,
Yeah.
So like the decorative element of the triple moon would be something that would be able to be detached, and then the design that you liked is literally the same exact design without the shape.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that suits that house.
That looks so much better.
Yeah, this is pretty, I'm not saying that. It's just that for the purpose of our goal to keep it more in line with what, I think that design totally fits that house more readily. And then I also agree with the brick. If you put all this massive brick going up beside the house for the ramp, I don't know what that's gonna.
Well, and she makes the ramp out of steel and then clads it in wood or something. That seems like then that would fit in.
They have wood, right, I agree, that's what I think so too.
And would go with the porch.
Right.
Yeah. So are you talking about the ramp, the actual base of the ramp being steel? Okay, and then you would do some kind of framing or something?
Well, what I was trying to understand was in the thing, it says that you need to have brick foundation. So you put your brick foundation and then you put, I mean, is that how you do it? Like you put the
Are you talking about the ramp?
mechanical part of it is what I'm not understanding.
Are you talking about the ramp now or the porch?
Well, I mean, they're both together. So I'm kind of, because it's going to have to, like, they're going to have to complement each other. They can't be one this and one this.
Well, that's what we're saying, the brick doesn't seem suitable with the wood porch.
With the porch you've got designed.
Yeah,
Okay, what does she have on the bottom of the porch? Can you pass
this
that
is
up?
the one basically that we're favoring, is this one.
Right, and that one is absolutely the same one as this, except for she's removed what I like and put that.
Well, we do, look at that one.
So you are showing some,
So my thought with
can I just finish the question? Okay. You are showing some brick, just to clarify, at the front, under the porch. So you're anticipating that it's going to be a brick structure at that point as well.
Somewhat Italian.
or the brick can be decorative. Like not part of the actual like supporting part, more like a facade.
And then the ramp brick.
Okay, so there's brick at the base of the porch.
And then
Typically
if
for
the
a porch,
Oh, I
it's
see
built
that.
Yeah.
so the
she was looking for
posts
the base, yeah.
sit on
But I don't think
a concrete
Halfway.
post with a foundation that goes into the ground.
Mhm.
So then it's just wood that comes up from there.
Okay, and then doesn't it say that it has to have brick around it too? Or was that for the,
I don't know.
Couldn't the brick, I mean, I think the brick foundation for the porch looks fine, but couldn't you
Right.
just continue to bring that across at that height and then do a wood railing up above? Would that work?
Or the metal, whatever she.
Or metal, or whatever
Yeah.
kind of railing you're proposing, but I think, because that could carry that brick across. If it's only at that
think it would
height,
look
I don't think
nice
that's a
that way.
right, and
problem.
then once it's painted, it's gonna just,
It'll
blend
disappear, yeah, pretty much. And then this can be some kind of railing up here that you could see through.
That would match your porch.
The brick at the front, if it's gonna be structural, it does mean that there would have to be a foundation all around to support the brick so that it could
Right.
support the structure.
Yeah.
So doing
That's
that
what she's
means it's
saying.
gonna be a much more expensive structure
yeah.
to begin all
Right.
around. And what most people do with porches is build them out of wood, and so there's just the post
Right.
with typically a round column
Yeah.
that sits on a footing, and then the part below the deck, which can be unsightly because it's all open, ends up getting infilled with
Whatever.
some, often a lattice kind of thing is done. If you wanted to do brick, it would be more complicated because you'd have to find some way to support that brick, a steel angle, or if you like steel, it could be a steel angle or something of that sort, but it would just make it more
Who's
expensive.
doing the work for you?
I have a brother-in-law who is going to register if it's approved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he'll register, but I'm not gonna have him waste $100
Well,
for his,
Well, I was gonna say, though, you're not paying an architect to design this or something.
I have not paid the architect that has begun the design process with me, but I had to engage an architect in order to have something to bring you.
Well, my suggestion, I like this, you wanna hold that up? I'm not in favor of, I don't know how the rest of you, this seems a little bit too ornate for me, for that simple of a home.
It doesn't seem in keeping.
Right,
Yeah.
it's lovely, I mean, it's not, but I think if the home itself was more ornate itself, then that would be appropriate. But this one is the one that I this one I would approve, basically because of the simplicity of it and the simplicity of the house itself. I think it would carry through on the character and the style of the house. That's my thought, I don't know how the rest of you feel about that, but. And then the brick looks nice on the bottom here. And I think brick all the way up for the ramp might be too much brick. I would like to see it.
I think you'd have to, because it's right here.
Well, it'll come over here, yeah. But then the ramp itself, couldn't it be like Kathy said, it could be part wood spindles
Yeah,
or something
no,
to
you
match
you just
that.
want the
Yeah,
front to come across.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then match up these type spindles, I think,
Well,
or similar to that, yeah.
If you wanted to set off this ramp from the rest of the structure, if the porch is 10 feet deep, the minimum size you have to have for the top landing for the ramp is 5 feet. You could pull the ramp back at that point 5 feet so that you made
Or be an offset.
an offset so that it was different from the rest, and then it might be more
I
acceptable
don't
to
think
have.
there's enough room. I only have like 6 inches of clearance on the other side of the edge of the ramp.
it's tight up to
It's
her
super
neighbor's
tight.
lot.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm not, what I meant was that,
This way, I think Gigi's meaning this way.
yeah, that this could start over here.
Oh, instead of going straight across, drop back a little
She
bit?
can't go
Yeah.
too much farther back though
You can't.
because you've got
An air conditioner unit.
Yeah,
So she's got to
Where?
stop
right by side.
right back there at the end of the ramp.
Well, I'm not suggesting the ramp gets moved back, it's just that the landing at the top for the ramp.
Okay, I see what
So
you're
rather
saying.
than coming
Just the
more
landing.
forward on the
Right.
porch.
So the
it would
landing
be
would be
more-
the full 10-foot depth, it would only be.
Yeah,
5 foot or
yeah.
6 foot.
You're required to have a 5-foot landing at the top of the ramp, but if it came back to here, that might be one way to make this offset so that this could be more independent and a different kind of structure if you wanted to do that.
Should we go line item type thing and approve it?
I think so. There's
Yeah,
so many
okay.
pieces.
Right,
I was gonna say,
there
we can just start with the roof. I gotta get a deposit
Right,
to that
yeah.
guy, or
Let's see, the installation of steel roof, the entire structure, so that, I move that we approve that, and you also did, yeah.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the roof. Do I have a second?
Well, you better be clear about your recommendation because the staff recommended asphalt shingles. So what are you recommending?
I said asphalt shingles, but if you want, I mean, asphalt is a replacement material. Obviously,
What is
wood
your-
was
What is your
original.
preference, because actually, yeah, there's a, thank you.
well, I'm 40 years old. So if I put a traditional roof on this building,
You're
I will
not
be
going
putting
on.
another roof on this house at 75 years old.
Well, sooner than that, probably.
But I will be putting another roof on in my life.
So,
But metal roofs aren't guaranteed for life.
There, when you have a professional do them. There's a great guarantee. I think you guys got the paperwork from the roofer when I turned in my original.
But do we make the decision on that basis or on the basis of what we think is suitable and
well, I have a
appropriate?
question. I have a question. First of all, did you basically recommend that it be an asphalt shingle?
Well, that is most appropriate because the profile would stay the same. And so what the guidelines, and, you know, I mean, that's what I'm looking at, is how does
No,
it
that's
compare to the
what I-
guidelines? And so the guideline says that new roofing material should match the original as closely as possible in composition, size, shape, color, and texture. Well, obviously, an asphalt shingle is going to be closer to wood shingles than metal is a totally different look. But I get it, they're both replacements for what was originally there.
Do we have many more examples? I just can't
The
think of
Parker
them.
Mansion
In the,
has a metal roof. The
and the-
DNR office has a metal roof.
Parker
Courthouse
Mansion has
has.
this tile roof.
They have metal on the roof as well. There's
The
sections.
original building.
I have no idea what
Not
part
on
of
the
that
original.
building.
Not on
is
the
original.
original, the original,
Yeah,
yeah.
original.
There aren't a lot, in that era, most of the metal roofs were in rural areas, not so much in town.
Right.
So there aren't a lot of them, but it's not
Corrugated.
unheard of.
Metal truck.
So just what I'm saying is that if you decide to do that, then I think you need to put some serious stipulations, because it needs to look like it fits from that period, if it would have been done. But personally, I think asphalt shingles are the right look.
Did you look at this?
But it would need, if you do a metal, you really need to require it to look like standing seam, not be corrugated. It needs to have hidden fasteners, that sort of thing.
Like that.
That would be a more
Oh, yes,
authentic look.
right, yeah.
So, but that's, you know, either one is a replacement from the original, that is true. And I know some preservation commissions in different towns are looking at it that way, that metal's a replacement, but so is asphalt. So it's just a very different
What is your
profile.
preference? I mean,
Steel.
steel. Oh, yeah, because you said the cost of it.
Well, I don't even know these ones that are, I mean, this was just a company that I found out of Goshen that
Yeah.
that does it. But I just put a roof on a house that I just sold on the other end of town, and I paid almost 3 times what this man wants to do a metal roof for.
Okay, I have a question.
It was a metal roof?
No, he did asphalt shingles, and it was 3 times more than what it is for the steel.
Now, if we do approve a porch, okay, what are you going to put on the porch? Are you thinking,
There's steel, honestly, if you guys don't want me to do the steel, I mean, I don't have the extra half again the money to do the asphalt shingles right now.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, we don't quite know what this is gonna go on with the roof of this. It's gonna be sloping downward, so we're really looking at it.
yeah, that's the thing of it. I mean, once you put a porch on there, how is a metal roof going to look on that porch?
Because that's the part you would see.
Right,
Because I go by this
exactly.
house quite often and see, you don't really see the roof so much
Right, but-
because of how
Right,
the,
porch you
but the
will.
porch you would see.
Yeah, so I think I'm probably favoring asphalt shingle.
Well, because of cost, could we tell her she could do a steel roof on the house and
No,
then
No.
just asphalt on the porch?
to
No,
be.
it has to be.
it wouldn't look good that way either.
I mean, I do already have an approved building in the back with a steel roof on it that's gray.
It's a utility barn.
It's a utility shed.
I guess another thing I wondered about on the quote, when I was looking at it today, they don't quote anything for shingle tear off or
No,
flooring
it goes
strips.
right over.
Oh, it does.
Oh, wow.
I don't, I don't
Be really
recommend that.
careful with
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Because over time, there's
The
deflection and you see whatever wasn't perfect before shows through. Over time, I would really recommend a tear off with flooring strips. And how will they're gonna put, where did I see that? There was a check mark on the solar barrier insulation. So that would also be, I would think, a little difficult to install right over existing shingles and keep it in place and then install metal over that. I don't know.
Well,
what
if
the
we were
process
to
is.
put on a regular shingle roof,
Mhm.
it would be a second layer. It's not
Not a
it's
tear
not
off.
gonna be a
Not a
tear
tear
off.
off.
Okay.
Oh,
So it's gonna, the
None
roof
of,
that's
neither
there,
one is gonna be tear off.
either way, the roof's gonna be there. We're either gonna have to shingle over it,
So
and
there's
then
only one layer on there now.
there should only be one layer on it.
Or should be, that's
Should,
the key.
it is there.
You gotta be careful.
Well, the reason the roof leaks is because somebody shot holes in the ceiling. It was a homeless shelter for 20 years.
I know.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
the house is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, the roof is quite large. It's twice the size of the roof I just had put on, and with what I paid for the roof I just had put on, I can't fix the roof on this house unless I do steel.
And if I were you, I would get in writing a guarantee that this roof will not leak. Because I can give you the name of 3 people I know that, and I almost did it myself. And they have issues. Because of what Deb just said. And that's a shame. One's not even a year old yet. And one's only 6 months old, so. And it's all leaking around the chimneys and,
And that's why I wanted to take the chimney down.
okay,
Because my chimney is,
Yeah.
it's
your
leaking.
furnace or your water heater does not vent in the chimney
No, there's vents that come out through the side of the house.
for the water heater too?
There's like 4.
Okay,
I mean, there's
well then you don't need a
2
chimney.
water heaters downstairs and a huge furnace, and there's,
They're power vented. Then you don't need a chimney.
What is your time frame on this? I mean, I know you need to get the.
I need the roof. I need the roof, like, I need to make the deposit and get on the books, because every time it rains, I've got buckets all over my apartment,
So
and
that's something we need to decide this evening. And then, from that point on, then the porch would be in the future, or?
I would like to have my porch this summer, but it's been years trying to figure out something that we can all agree on that I want to put money into. I've had a design done before by somebody who's not here, and I didn't like it. And I just can't spend, $20,000 on a porch if it's not something that I'm going to want to pull up to my house and fall in love with.
Right.
So you would be putting the roof, removing the chimney at the same time?
Yep, and shoring up the foundational issues.
Okay. And then paint the house?
That is on the books. Yeah, that's something that we want to do straight away.
Okay. And then the greenhouse, I'm assuming we're gonna put on hold until we get plans for that.
Yeah, that was just some bunch of windows and doors I wanted to put together for something fun.
So what we need to do tonight is just decide basically on this roof, how we feel, so she can get started with that. And then, if need be, she could actually come back on the porch when she has, a definite sign that you like,
She already did.
I already do.
She already
Well,
did.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not about what I like, it's about what you like.
Well,
This is what she's proposing, right?
I mean, I've been working on that design for years.
okay, well, I
get it.
I
You
was
can
just
live
trying,
with the design you brought in?
that,
I like the first design that I gave. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's not that much different than what I want, other than the elemental feature that was to make it look like mine.
Yeah.
This is just also troubling to me because everything we're being asked for here, I think, is a little.
tell us, Gigi, what is troubling you?
It's the arts district. I'm a legit artist. Legit artist. I do my art.
She is an architect,
She's an architect.
so that's,
It's also the historic district, and
Yes.
we don't know how they might detail the metal roof if that went on, and so, I don't know how much of that we would see, but it's really, really troubling that it would be the roof over the front porch,
Me too,
that
we
I
would
agree.
see it so much there.
I would be more than happy to put a deck out the front of that porch so I can climb out my window and dance on it, I guess. I mean, we haven't done the roof because we haven't, that's, we got the bottom part.
I'm inclined to go with shingles. I just feel that would keep symmetry, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna have to do that again though. I literally plan on dying in this house.
Yeah, I understand. Unfortunately, we have to think probably in terms of, like Gigi said, it is a historical situation, so, I don't have a problem with the steel roof. I mean, it's not that, but I am concerned, like Gigi is, you're gonna have a steel roof, and then you're going to have a steel roof on a porch that is designed to look
Period.
period style.
Somehow, period.
Right, yeah, I just don't know how that's going to look. I just question that.
Where did that come from? That was not mine, don't drink it.
so what you're saying is you'd rather see it be a flat roof.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to say
I'm not saying that
that.
at all. We're just saying that the porch roof needs to match. And I'm not sure that a metal roof on that porch is going to add any.
We don't have to put the metal roof on the porch if you don't want to. I really, really, really need that metal roof though.
So if we approve the metal roof for the porch, but not
For the house.
You know, for the house.
For the house,
for the
not
house, but not for the porch,
Right.
would that be your choice if?
Yeah, if you can do that, I'll just forget about the porch for a while because apparently it's not right. It's not the time
Well,
yet.
what kind
But
of a roof line are we looking at for that porch? Is it flat roof or is it going to be?
it was supposed to just be like flat. I mean, she had one thing where she had it kind of with a little peak on it,
Right, that's
and then,
what
I mean,
This
there
is
was one
flat.
where it was just tipped a little bit, so, but I mean, it's,
This is flat.
Well, if it's flat, then you wouldn't see the roof.
Well, the only thing I would suggest basically is if we have her put, the color is going to be important.
She's gonna do gray, she
Gray,
said.
Right,
Just
so.
basic gray.
But that's
The
okay,
darker
but-
gray.
Whichever one you like, sweetheart.
Well, I like the dark, but that's not.
I mean, I
necessarily
personally would love a bright eggplant purple, but I know that that's not
And what
gonna.
color paint are you?
White,
It's white.
white.
Yeah,
White
Well,
house.
okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, white house.
She said to match the house.
I'm just making
Yeah,
sure.
and the colors that are already on the house are from the Sherwin-Williams historical
Okay.
palette.
So you're looking at white and then a gray roof. Okay, right there, that'll look nice, yeah.
So you got pewter or you got charcoal?
Gray.
Well, what do you think? What's the opinion here? I
Well, I
mean,
think they're gray for sure, yeah.
Well, there's 3 grays. You have charcoal. You
I
have
think
ash.
dark roofs are not good because they absorb the sun, so you wanna get lighter for,
You have pewter.
Especially with metal, right?
yeah, right.
Well, you won't be suntanning on it, that's for sure.
but it'll cause some heat gain in the house, so it'd be best to stay with
I was
lighter
gonna
colors.
say, anything that makes it cooler to cool, that's what I'm talking about, cause
Well, then you
it's-
need to go with either this
That
or
really light
this.
one, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got the medium gray on the shed in
Is that
back.
this
It's
one?
whatever the stock is from Menards or
Oh.
Lowe's or whatever,
It might
stock
be
gray.
this, it might be this other one.
So we're looking at basically metal roof in a light gray color,
And I'll have them
Flat
fast.
roof.
and-
porch.
Well, it sounds as if the porch is not decided, and I wonder
Well,
if
that's
you
what
wanna
She's
rethink
just
it.
saying if it's going to be flat,
Yeah, that's what,
then she will go
Okay.
ahead. If it's not, then she's gonna have to let us know.
So have to come back. We could put that stipulation on it. Is that
What do you say, you're gonna table me?
No,
No, okay.
No, we'd approve the steel roof and
For the house
for
and
the
the
house and the
porch.
porch, as long as the roof of the porch is flat. If
Okay.
it becomes angled so that it's more visible
Seen,
from the
then it would
street,
have to be.
Yeah.
then you would have to come back
Well, I
and,
would have to not have a roof on it
Right.
then at that point.
yeah.
You don't have much depth in which to
No.
put a sloped roof to begin with. You know, when they put a roof across this whole thing at the front, you're gonna really have to be putting little reglets tucked into the brick and stuff like that to keep it from, you know, it means they have to flash into the brick and stuff
Oh,
like that to
okay.
keep it from leaking, and, you know, it's gonna be a major thing across the front of your house to cut into that brick.
I
and
can't
make
even
sure-
turn around on my porch.
Not now.
I'm not suggesting that porch should stay. I'm suggesting you've got
I'm
enough
gonna
construction
complete-
here
yeah,
to think
change it,
about
yeah.
that's gonna be changing the basic thing of the house to make sure you get something that's
Plus
not
it'll-
leaking.
it'll cut a lot of light that comes in your lower windows out.
There's no light that comes in.
Oh, okay.
It's facing north.
Roof on the
Yeah.
house.
I've got that
It'll be
huge.
even less, it'll be even less.
Yeah, it'll be even
On the
less.
porch, if the porch-
And this is a business, I take it, that's why the
Yes.
ramp is necessary.
okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve
Yeah.
the roof, basically a metal roof, in a light shade of gray. And also approve the porch as per the design that you brought in, that we approved, with a metal roof, also in the same matching gray color.
Well, can we see a final iteration of the porch, because there's been some
Yeah, it's not
discussion
gonna
today
get started.
about how the, whether it would be brick or
Well, she's talking about the
wood.
brick foundation for the
Well,
ramp and
but there's the question about what happens at the ramp and so forth. There's still a lot that seems like it needs to be determined. It would be good to see if we could at least get that part brought in some more final form.
Okay, I guess I'm not understanding.
I'm not either, I don't know what your
She's already said that there's
Yeah.
gonna be brick along the bottom of the porch
foundational,
that will go to the ramp. We talked about that,
the ramp landing.
that part of it. And then on top of the
Rail.
porch railing and the railing of the ramp would match. I thought we already discussed that.
Will match the wood on the porch. Does everybody, is that what that's what I understood it to be.
That's, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else understand the same thing? Okay.
Are you open to relocating the location of the stairs so it's in front of the door?
Oh, no, she can't. You have to have certain regulations for those ramps that when you get to the top, You have to have room to be
If
able
there's
to.
a staircase right there with a ramp attached, somebody could fall down the stairs.
No, not in 10 feet. And the 5 feet at the top of the railing is, or the ramp is the landing that's required.
The door
You're okay from the standpoint of the historic thing, to me, it's just so,
It's
homes were
different.
more direct and
Yes.
simple and.
Right.
Until,
Well-
maybe the
Okay, but she
really.
has a business in there that's already there. Correct me if I'm wrong, when you go in the door, you go into your business or you go up the
Up
steps.
into the steps
There's
of the
no
house.
way you can move that front door.
No,
You would
God,
be,
no.
you'd have to move.
Oh, I'm not suggesting the door be moved. I was just suggesting that the stairs stay in front of the door instead of moving to the center of the porch. Because now the stairs come up to a window instead of coming up to the door. I think it just, I know.
Well, you're looking at it architecturally, I'm sure that it does not, it does not pan out like it should. However, if I understand, we are a guideline group. That might not be the first choice to have it like that, you know what I'm saying? I understand that totally, Gigi. It would, it would look more nice and probably. However, with all the work that she's doing on this, I don't feel that the steps going up where they are is a major distraction. You know what I'm saying? There's other
We
things
may all disagree about this, but the one thing I just want to clear up is that, yes, I find it jarring to enter it and to come up at the ramp, at the window in the center. But my primary reason, and this is why I keep turning to Deb, because I know you're so tuned into the historic things, I don't think the porch across the front is appropriate in an historic sense to begin with.
Oh, okay. Well,
And I think that if it's done, I would like to see it more reflective of how it might have been built, and the idea of coming in and entering and making the porch as a more utilitarian space off to the side seems like what might have been done. And that, I think there were some
Right.
homes, and I was looking at yesterday in the Lincoln Park area that were of this era, that had a few that had a porch and were done that way. And the stairs are always in front of the door. And it's more of a modern thing to move them to the center.
Okay,
So
well, I
that's
understand where
my-
you're coming from.
Yes,
Now
you
I know.
didn't, you didn't
See,
explain
we
that
didn't-
before.
Yeah.
We didn't realize you felt, you had that in your head, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, okay, now I understand what you're saying.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so
Yeah.
the only option we would have, is the door in the original location? Okay, so the only option we would have would be, what would you suggest, like a half porch? You know what I'm saying? And are you saying the porch is not size-wise correctly and?
Well, no, once you're going to do it, if you're going to do one that's bigger than the part over the door,
Yeah.
I think then you probably have to make it go all the way across. And my argument is just that the stairs to enter it would be in front of the door instead of at the center.
So just move it
That
over
makes
one more
at least from a
section.
historic standpoint, and I don't know, maybe this is just all going so far afield that it's moot, or not important at this point, but.
Well, I
Yeah,
think,
it's certainly the historic way that it
right.
normally, most of the time, I mean, there's a very few unusual cases where they don't line up, but generally speaking, the stairs and the door line up.
All right, can we put the ramp somewhere
And
else?
no, you can't
There really
put the
isn't
ramp,
another
you
place
cannot
for the
put the
ramp.
ramp
No.
nowhere else.
See, that's what
But
maybe-
all you'd have to do here
I don't think
is just move this over.
Right.
Do what?
Move the steps over.
I can say that we tried it. She drew me a sketch and it
Didn't look right.
It looked off to you?
it didn't look like an improvement. It looked like it feels so much more regal and so much more grand to come up a central staircase, and
Yes, I
it is the arrival, and then you look and you see you can see straight inside the windows and see this beautiful tin ceiling and these beautiful oak floors, and you see that when you look in. So you still have the actual visual entering of the house, but instead you step 3 feet to the side and open the door to gain entry into the business.
I understand a lot of people had started putting doors at the center of houses and even narrow houses like this. And I understand that people find that it's different and maybe it seems more prominent or something. But just because we're dealing with this in an historic district, and it's not one of those unusual, elegant houses. This is a very, very nice, but it's more of a basic style house, and that's why it just doesn't seem to go in that direction. But I'm being very purist here, and maybe that's.
I think the one thing that would get thrown off are all these columns then, right? Well, maybe not, maybe this would just go.
Well, I still would like to make a motion on the roof. I would like to get that cleared for her. So we have decided that she can't, I make a motion that she, do we, I mean, where we stated it?
You make a
clearly?
motion
Yeah.
that can be a metal roof and porch
Metal
and
roof.
light gray, as long as the porch does
And
not.
I would add with concealed fasteners, not
With
exposed.
concealed fasteners, okay. Is there anything you want to add to that, Gigi or Kathleen?
No, and you're saying that the porch roof needs to be flat.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So you can have a metal roof on the house and on the flat roofed porch
With
in a light
concealed
color
fasteners.
gray with concealed fasteners. That'll do
That's
it. Oh, and removal of the,
Removal of the chimney.
The chimney.
And then for the tuck pointing, I have a quote from
For your foundation repairs.
for the foundation repair
Okay, well,
only in
let's
the
vote
back.
let's vote on
Let's
your-
vote on this one
Let's
first.
vote on your roof.
Gutters and
get that
downspouts are part of this quote, also,
on that.
in an unspecified profile.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to
So
say
replace them with what's on there.
half round that doesn't say what's on
It
there?
doesn't, this just says
Well, no, I'm
gutters,
asking
$965,
if that's what you want me to do.
and it doesn't have
replace it
anything
with
written.
what's on there
All right,
right
so
Well, we're
how do
saying-
you want to word that then?
Well, what's on there now are half rounds,
Yeah.
and that's certainly appropriate, so
Okay,
I would
so
add
yeah,
right
that
here.
that's what you say.
replacement in kind.
Existing gutters.
Okay. Replacement gutters shall be half-round profile with round downspouts in color. Do you have a preference?
That match the house, and
Matching.
white.
That would be white, correct?
White,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
They're-
so,
They look fine
so that's a
now.
long motion.
That's a long motion, yeah.
Does everybody
So,
understand it?
Yeah, why don't you repeat
You got the
that?
chimney in there too.
Well, removal of the chimney, yes, because it is no longer
Right.
needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same? Phew.
Yeah, we made some progress here.
Well,
Okay.
we're not gonna drown in the
Just
living
get
room.
one thing at a time, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, the foundation, is that the next thing that
That's what
she's
she's
got?
got there, she'll tell us what she has.
Oh, let me tell you, all right, I have, quote from Signature Seepage Control for masonry repairs, brick foundation, wall, resin, cement coating, brick repairs, rebuilding of the brick at the building section up to 4 feet high on the back side of the building. Work includes soil excavation, brick veneer tuck pointing, exterior masonry, thin film ceiling, downspout, removal of waste, $1,500, 1 day required to complete work, weather permitting. It is,
Is this all repair?
this is
work?
repair.
So that it all would be,
Yeah, so this is
Routine
just
maintenance.
the back of the house. The foundation is crumbling. We wound up putting like about 8 cans of spray foam insulation in it at the beginning of winter to keep the mice out of the house.
so it's all in the back of the house?
It is, well, it's the back and the front. Both of the corners need to be re-tuck pointed where the gutters
So
have failed.
basically, the motion on that should be made that basically all foundation, all repairs need to be.
Yeah, it's needed. repairs needed, I guess.
Yeah, the repairs are
Thing to
needed.
say, Yeah.
We need to, yeah, we stopped the mouse highway, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It was, I bought like 8 of those bags of steel wool and I like shredded it and stuffed it in the holes. There was one hole, I literally could put my whole arm inside the hole. It was just, it had just completely deteriorated.
Yeah. Okay, and then also now the paint, we probably can get the,
Foundation
Yeah.
would be one thing.
you wanna do one?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion that all foundational repair be done, do we need,
I was gonna say, that's just
To make
one of the
existing-
quotes.
yeah, or, yeah, how do you wanna word that?
Well, so the brick maybe, because they might have to replace some of the brick, and the tuck pointing should match existing.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
painted red brick.
so,
Should match the texture and the consistency and all that,
Okay.
of what is there. Obviously, the color doesn't matter because it gets painted. So.
Yeah, it's important to make sure that they do the grout in the same
Matching
way as
it,
the rest.
right,
Yeah, so that's,
so, do we make that motion? Okay.
Okay, County's making that
Make a motion that the foundational, all foundational repair be done accordingly to match
the existing brick
existing
and,
brick
and paint.
and paint.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same? Okay,
Let's go to paint. Owner proposes painting the house the same color as existing, which is white, okay, with a darker shade of blue trim. And of course, Deb approved it. Using the Sherwin-Williams Historic Paint Palette. So, what color blue, is it anywhere near on
it's,
there?
It's a powdery, very light blue.
Light blue.
Light, very light. It's a little bit darker than what's on the windows now, but not as dark as the door.
can't really see.
Yeah, you could see it,
It's
yeah.
fairly, it's
not,
like
it's not.
5,
It's not sky blue.
7%
It's
blue.
not-
It's not, no,
Indigo blue.
Yeah.
It's a softer.
like a cloudy gray kind of day blue. It's
Oh,
not,
that's a fantastic.
it's not, yeah, it's
Um,
not super blue.
So, I make a motion that basically we approve, the painting of the house, and also
The trim,
the trim color to be a
blue.
gray
Well, there's
blue.
purple, blue, and yellow currently on the house.
Yeah, but what color are you, you're saying blue?
Everything's gonna get a fresh coat of paint.
And what we'll say is a gray.
It will stay
a
the
gray
same,
blue.
except for the blue on the windows, I'd like to take it a shade darker, cause it
Yes.
faded with the sun to nothing.
Yeah, in a gray blue.
Yeah, it's a very soft blue.
So you're not talking just about the wood trim, you're also talking about the
There's no
brick
wood
arch.
trim. Oh, you're talking about, yeah, this brick arch is what I'd like to take just a tiny bit darker, just that little bit of archway. A little bit closer to the color, this Cosmos color that's on the peak and the door.
No, you're not
So
trying
have you
to
seen that?
contrast it, are you?
No, I just, like I said, it faded out with the sun. I just would
Okay.
like a little bit more
All right.
color
Okay.
to linger. And I mean, I'm not even like a shade darker.
Okay.
I know that you love this one.
Okay, the motion's been made.
Yeah, do I have a
Approve.
second?
Sure, second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same? Okay,
Now, how do we want to address the porch and the ramp?
Can we ask to get more information?
I think the design of the porch, yeah, we should, yeah, I mean, because you're gonna be busy doing all this anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the house has to be painted first, and obviously
Right.
the roof and the foundation issues need to be
Right.
taken care of before that. But I just wanted to start.
Well, and that's what I was hoping to do,
Yeah.
to get you started.
Yes, ma'am,
and then
thank
if
you.
that way you can even think more about your porch too. But I think the porch and the ramp, we need more information and more info or something on it.
Well, and yeah, because I mean, ultimately, I would really like for the, some of the grant money that's available for some of
Right.
these. Like, I know that for the foundation, isn't there something for that? for the foundation repairs in the historic district?
I don't
Is there
know.
any grant
I don't know about
allocated?
that.
I'm not sure about that. I do know that it's specific to the facade.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, is that
Through
Which would be the
So
porch.
I don't believe that would cover the anything foundation.
No.
Okay.
Through the redevelopment commission,
Yeah.
the facade, there is a facade grant. I don't know if it covers off of Franklin
If it's
Street
in the
though.
front,
I don't
Are
know.
you in the enterprise district? You may want to check
yeah.
with the Urban Enterprise Association, because they do also grants.
Okay.
And so you may want to check to see what could be available there.
Okay, because I know that has to be like in front of all of this, that is the intention, is to, my tax rate went up 34% this year.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, are you aware that Horizon Bank, I don't know if this would be of interest to you or not, but I know sometimes you don't know it. Horizon Bank does have a program. There's 5 different programs basically they support whereby you could possibly get a loan, some kind of a loan if you wanted to try to do all of this sooner than stretching it all out. But they do, Horizon Bank does have
Thank you.
a program.
All right, and I'm kind of sympathetic to the accessibility issue too, because that's wonderful that you're adding that.
I've lost clients already because they can't get up the stairs. And, when you know somebody for 20 years, it really breaks your heart when they're like, I can't come see you anymore because those 4 steps are too much.
Each one of the
Accessibility modification
different
program
rooms
Awesome.
is what you want to talk to them about.
That's your-
So this, I wish I had another report.
I will take,
That's wonderful. Take a picture,
Yeah.
photograph it.
Okay, and then,
She has that. from Horizon
So,
Bank.
yeah, so you might want to try that, certainly the enterprise zone, and then see what the redevelopment commission, because theirs was a 60-40 match, right?
For the
Facade.
which would cover the porch if we can come to it, right?
But I don't know if it goes off of Franklin Street.
I don't know either, that's what
I'm not sure about the percentage of what's covered.
Anyway, it's worth looking into.
Yes, absolutely.
So I looked at it recently because Skylar has me doing, being more involved with the program.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's 60-40, but I do know they cap out at a certain amount, and I do know that for both of the grants, in order to get maxed out, you have to spend a certain amount of money, basically. If you only spent $15,000, they wouldn't give you all the money for that. They would maybe pay half of it or the 40%. It changes depending on how much money you're investing.
Okay, do we have it covered?
okay, what else do we have here? What's that?
The greenhouse is something she's got.
Yeah, the greenhouse and the porch
Yeah, that's-
and the ramp are
Yeah, that's
something that
great.
we're
Okay,
going
so
to.
for the greenhouse, all I really wanted to do was just put a bunch of doors and windows together
Yeah.
and play in it.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
I'm not looking to build a structure that
Sure.
I think is gonna last forever.
Yeah.
But just something for me while I'm in school because I need a place to grow my herbs.
But that's in back, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, and you're not going to see it, so it's not basically,
So do we, I would say that you could do
It could
it.
be approved because it's not a permanent
I would
structure.
say tentatively, you could go ahead with that. We would like to see what you're going to do with it, maybe.
I got a stack of doors that have been laying there for a while.
And I've seen that, that's cute. when you
It's
do-
darling, and I mean,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
it's in the back
So
and,
you're gonna have a she shed, is what you're basically.
I mean, I will park my pretty car in there in the winter, but yeah, I know, I need a place where I can put my babies and I can have a little fire to keep them warm and grow my
Well,
plants.
In that case, if it's basically a
It's in
non-permanent
the back.
structure.
Yeah, it's not gonna be anything
It's more of a
like that.
crafts project
Yeah.
almost than it is okay, I feel that we could go ahead and make a motion to approve that also.
Well, we don't have to approve it even.
Well, I'm saying,
I just don't wanna finally talk my husband into building this thing for me and have
Yeah.
somebody come out and be like, oh, you can't have that, and then he'll be so mad
Yeah,
about it.
why not?
Detached structure already.
Do I have
With
a
your
detached sub?
Yes.
I have
the
a
shed.
shed that I moved
is this gonna go off of
What's
that?
the square footage on that?
The shed,
Mhm.
I think it's 9 by 12.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a,
Lily, doesn't this start to get into zoning rather than historic review?
Yeah, it would start going into impervious surface, how much of her property is going to be covered, because if you have an enclosed structure, they're held to different standards.
so if I don't enclose it, does that mean
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
Well,
like the-
enclosed means that it has walls.
what if it has wall?
Even if it's,
She wants to grow herbs.
Yeah, I'm studying for my herbalist certification, and part of what I have to do for school is have successful plants.
Well, unfortunately, there's a few regulations that cover how you can use the property. And one of the, besides it being in a historic district, there's zoning and building codes too that you have to follow. And this one is just something that would be an issue where we are not an issue. Because if it's behind the house, it's not our concern, but it may very well be a zoning concern, and you might need to just at least
So
understand.
just
So
check
just
with Sue.
check with them.
Hop on over there
yeah,
and
yeah, when you get ready to do it.
Talk to Sue.
Yeah, because I think you're gonna have a few other things you're doing.
Well,
So when you get ready to do it.
I've lived in the house for a long time, and it's been a hustle to,
Sure.
and now that I only have one house, there's time for some flow to put money back into the house, because it is, I mean, I plan on retiring there.
Well, okay then, check with Liliana and basically make sure that what you're going to do falls in line with what's appropriate for the amount of square footage on the lot. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, yeah.
Impervious
okay.
surface.
So
You
we-
should get some praise for bringing this all forward, because there are some people who like to do these things in the dark of night.
Right.
And not ask
The
permission.
lady that owns the house behind me tried to fix her porch, and they shut her down, and all she was doing was making repairs, so.
But you've got to let them know.
I know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any questions for us?
No, I think I'm
Who
happy.
wants to go and go to bed?
No, I just need to feed my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better.
She's only patient for so long.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to report you for child abuse.
Yeah, no.
Good luck with
And
that.
if you're gonna report me for child abuse, let me know, and I'm gonna go home and beat the 17-year-old. That's what I'm gonna do. And then possibly her father.
Yeah.
Is there anything
That's
else
on
that I-
TV.
Yeah, right. Well,
Well,
good luck with everything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
All
great
right, so
project.
we can go ahead with the roof. I can get that deposit made and get on their
Your
books.
roof,
Yeah.
your paint, yeah.
I'll call you tomorrow morning, and then you can come in and pick up your certificate, and then.
Thank you. Appreciate your time this evening, ladies.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm just busy.
It was a pleasure. I've never been so like this in all my life.
Well, we haven't either.
See what happens when you get an artist in here and just turn it all up.
Bye, Willow.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for being patient.
Yes. Thank you all
Have a
very
good
much.
night.
Nice seeing you.
Me too.
Okay,
All right.
now we are moving along to,
Let's review this one quickly.
York.
This is 113 York. You approved a lot of stuff for there a while back. I was over looking at the building about a month ago with the developers, and they said that the code was going to require them to recess this main door. It was going to be flush with the exterior,
Yeah.
but that's just a requirement of code. So it's going to be just slightly recessed, and then they have to add one step just so they can get down the sidewalk. So, I told her I didn't think that was a real big deal. They didn't fill out a COA application for it because it's a code requirement.
Well, yeah.
It won't change the look, other than the fact that the door is set back in instead of flush with the front of the building, but I cannot see a problem with that, and the step is certainly necessary. You can't.
Is this a commercial building? I forget.
Yeah,
And is this the
York
entrance that?
it's by
because it
Zorn,
will
it's
not-
one of the Zorn Brewery buildings.
Oh, okay.
It's the, yeah, the thorn.
But it would no longer be accessible if they put in a step.
Not from that side,
But
but
they
they
do
will
have
on the
another
other
place.
side.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one that's getting the overhead glass garage door on the south side, and then it's got a entrance, the parking lot's on the south side, this is the east side facing
Right.
York. So
This is
it's
on
very
York.
accessible from the south side, from the parking lot. Next month, you're going to see a request for an awning on the south side, so you'll see the other doors. They just sent that today, so a little late.
And they are
to-
filling all these arches in with brick.
They already were.
Yeah, they didn't change
They
that.
didn't change
They
anything.
put all new windows in, which look
Yes,
Oh,
they look
really?
very
Yeah.
nice.
So that's good.
beautiful windows. So that's just kind of an update, so you know that's.
We don't have to vote on that or anything.
No,
She's just telling us.
she just wanted to be sure that you knew, and I said I would pass it along, but it doesn't change anything else.
Okay. I guess we have no public comment, or does anybody else have anything else they need to?
I did talk to Skylar, and he did say that positions need to be voted on.
Oh, officers.
Yeah, they had election
What about
days, which
that?
I know that everybody's not here, but he did say that we had to do it at the first meeting for the year.
And this
And
is,
I'm not familiar with that process,
We have
as this will be the
majority.
first time that I will be here with you
we
for
have a
that.
majority. There's 4 of us.
But
Well, it's usually a negotiation, I think, more than anything else.
And because there's so many people missing who could possibly, Be an
right,
officer.
Exactly.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I think we should table this till next month.
Here's the thing, we have a majority. But I don't think it would be fair to not include the gentlemen that are not here this evening.
Right.
Because we may want to appoint one of them.
That's what happens if they don't come to the
Well,
meeting.
but we could just help them in, you know, for
Oh,
everything.
Kathy,
Can we do that?
we can nominate them and vote on it, yes, we can.
that could be an option.
You can, but it's probably not.
Would you, let's look at it this way, ladies. Would we want that done to us? No. So I think I would like a
Oh, John.
motion to table it until we have
That's what I
a
think we
full.
should do too.
I second the motion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All in favor, I'm assuming. So,
Yeah.
And
thank you.
we just need to make sure we get the word out next month.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, I think if we can
important
get the
I think if we say
agenda and ask people to respond whether or not they're going to come, so we know.
and if they're not here, they will have a position.
Yeah, and let them know that.
Your
I'll send it out.
absence.
I'll send something out tomorrow.
Yeah, your absence indicates that you are willing to be.
And then the other thing too, I don't know if everybody was here earlier, Carrie is going to be taking over for Sheila. So what I've been doing interim wise is what she's gonna be picking up now. So we're getting her started on that as well.
So did you ever get everybody's emails, you know, at Kathy's, do you
I
think you have
think
it?
this is everybody's email, because I've been working on updating the council emails as well.
I think the only one that was wrong was
Yeah.
Kathy.
Where did it go? Let's see. I just got it. Yeah. We'll take a look at those again and just make sure what, everybody's not here to ask if they didn't get it, but did anybody else have any issues getting the emails? Okay. And then, so as far as the hard copies go, do you want hard copies when we get to the meeting, or are you asking to have them mailed again?
That would be nice if we can have those mailed.
Okay, so put it back on the mailing list.
But at least if we could have them at the meeting.
Because we were just trying to like have it emailed out and then save paper.
And I get that,
Because, yeah,
and I'm not gonna say what I was
Those posters.
well, we're trying to save on postage and stuff with, you know, because we're trying to save money for the department as well, so.
But you know, we're a volunteer staff, and if we don't have the ability, or like a printer at
Right.
home, then we have to go somewhere and print them.
Right,
And,
I second what Judy said.
yeah, I would like
agree.
to, I would like to get them.
Because we are.
So we'll have them
copies.
mailed again.
Right.
And I suppose if, depending on your schedule, if you waited till the day and you knew who was coming, you would know whether you had to print 6 or 8 copies. That might help
I
you.
would just mail them all out.
I would mail them out and then I don't
we
think,
can-
then you don't need to bring additional copies
No.
to the
Then-
So I'll tell Carrie
There you
Yes.
to
go.
have them
That's
mailed.
good.
Yeah, a week before the meeting.
I
If
like
they
it because
can.
I can read.
Right, I
Read
read
it through
everything
it. I
before
read
the
it,
meeting,
right,
so I know what
right.
the issues are ahead of
Yeah,
time.
the agenda and everything, yeah, I read it.
And then just say that no hard copies will be available at the meetings.
Right, let people know they have to bring their material.
That's a good idea.
That way you can save that aspect.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think before what it was, you were all getting copies of everything. All the council members were getting copies of
Right.
everything. All the news outlets were getting copies of everything. And then I think there was another mailing list as well. So when we were looking at cutting down the mailings, we were looking at it overall. Just trying to see what would work and what isn't gonna work.
The councilman would be getting copies of the agenda and all this
So they get
information
the
for this meeting?
agenda and they get all the minutes. I don't believe that they get the
Of
COAs.
us?
Oh, gee.
Of
Yeah.
ours? Oh, that's,
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Because
We
I
don't
don't
get
think they pay
theirs.
attention at all.
So we did email all of them and they said that they preferred email. So they're all just getting the emails now instead of getting the emails and getting the mail.
Because they don't need it. I
They
think
don't
they're in
want
a
it,
different
right,
position than we are.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't want to read
Right.
it.
Because I know it doesn't get sent out to everybody, but the agenda gets sent out to everybody in the city as well. Yeah, I think, I don't know if the minutes are on there, but the agenda definitely gets sent to everybody in the city so that they know that this meeting is here and if they want to attend, they can. But it's not like a simple email like, this meeting is happening this day, they get the whole agenda.
Well, that's good. That's appropriate, actually.
yeah, it's fine.
So we'll say there's gonna be no more hard copies at the meeting and we'll have them mailed out, we'll let Carrie know about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, is he still our liaison?
We don't have a liaison. Dwayne
Well, I
never was our,
Just was gonna say.
this Dwayne Hurt is on our board.
I know,
Right.
but
You're talking
It was
about
Brian.
Dabney.
It was Brian
Dabney.
Dabney. I don't,
He never comes. I don't know if he's
But I think
appointed
he's-
now or not.
oh no, they'll reappoint him at the beginning of the year, won't he? Yeah, Dwayne will, yeah. Yeah, we may not have him as our liaison.
Right,
We might have a different one.
have you seen the list of who the liaisons to the various commissions are? I haven't.
I just had to recently wrangle up just like the information for the council members.
How about if I call
Yeah.
Chris Yagelski and ask him?
Does this kind of thing go through the mayor? Is that why it's so?
Yes. Appointments.
Yeah, yeah.
Appointments, some appointments do, but not all of them.
Well, I think when they're deciding liaisons, so don't they assign different ones?
I don't know if
I'm
the
not
mayor
sure.
does that or the president of the council
Council.
does that.
Yeah.
Maybe with a new mayor, though, he's paying a little more attention to
Yeah,
that.
he's coming to city council meetings, which I never
I know.
saw a mayor come to maybe one council
And
meeting.
he actually has something to say usually at
He sits on the Board of Works too, as well. So when they come up for public comment, he
I do
addresses
invite
them
him to this
individually.
meeting every
Wow.
month,
Wow.
Mhm.
and he came one time but
I
couldn't
think he's
stay.
getting his bearings a little bit.
We didn't know that was him when he was here either.
No, I know.
It's really too bad because
Really?
Well, I was going to introduce him, but then he got a phone call.
He had to leave, yeah. Yeah, I would like for us to have someone who's an active participant.
Mhm. I'll call tomorrow, and then I'll email everybody to let you know what
Yeah.
I was told.
Because, yeah, they're
He may
really,
tell you just to call Sean Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Who's the new president of the council. I bet Chris should know, or somebody in the mayor's
Well,
office should know.
That's what I would think.
Yeah,
That we
yeah, I
would.
would think that, this is February, almost March, I would think that that's been
they should have done
decided,
it by
right,
now,
yeah.
I would think so.
Decided that.
Yeah, because they've already got their officers on their board, so. I will do that and I will email everyone so that we know
Okay,
if we do or if we do not.
yeah.
And then I also will let everyone know that hard copies will be mailed approximately a week ahead of our meeting.
To
No
be
hard
brought
copy.
to the meeting.
Yeah, no hard copies will be available at the meeting. Is that agreeable with everyone?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
You don't need to mail me. I do not want a
Don't
hard
mail
copy.
copy.
Do not mail me a hard copy. Please and thank you.
What about your husband? Doesn't the mail
That's my boss, actually. Well, it's all right. People say that sometimes, and I think it's hilarious. So it's good.
So does your boss
You don't
want
need
the
this.
copy?
No,
Okay.
you don't need to.
So
Because
we'll say,
if I don't happen to come, he will come, but he'll print out his own.
so we'll say no hard copy.
No hard copies for us. Save your postage. So,
Well, that's so nice of you.
we're good.
Okay.
Plus the fact that I'm not in the office
Ooh,
every
do
day.
you want these?
I need about
Oh, yes.
5 minutes of your time, so
Oh, okay.
I'll talk really fast.
No, that's fine.
So,
This may be.
we have not had a planning meeting this year either. Are we going to think about planning, or are we just going to let the year just go past us?
Well, we got sort of sidetracked in January there, so we were behind
So
on
we really
everything.
should do something soon, probably, before the years have gone.
So do we need to maybe have a planning meeting before our meeting next month?
Could we do that?
Can everyone come earlier next month?
Yeah. So,
I want to say 5.
What are you thinking for the
Yeah,
planning
that's-
meeting? Just to,
What do you,
Just anything that you guys want to do this year? Do you want to have any educational sessions? Do you want to do something that we could invite the public to? A workshop,
Remember when we did the
whatever?
walk?
We did the walk. I think that was great. And I think we
it
should do
was.
some more of that.
I think
because
so,
that was
too.
very good.
And
And
then
I'll
the-
dress for it this time.
And then the meeting that we had with, that we had here
yes.
with the other, that was very informal too.
So think about what you'd like to see and do, because that's what we're here
well, you bring
for.
us some ideas too when you come as to what others are doing.
Mhm.
You know, we might
can do that.
adopt some.
So-
Okay, then our meeting will be at 5 o'clock on March
23rd.
23rd.
You better email us and
Yeah.
So I'll pass some of these around. This is something that's coming up. This is similar to what you guys had here last fall. We're doing another Preservation Commission roundtable. Take one and pass it on. Brad Miller, who had this position before me, is putting this one together out in his area. So it's in Hobart. And that's coming up on March 10th. So
Oh,
if
in
you're
Hobart?
interested in going, I think it's a
Oh, I
great
know this.
opportunity.
I know this building.
And we're gonna be talking about infill in historic
Oh,
districts.
really?
Yeah, so we're gonna have an architect from South Bend there to talk about it. I'm gonna share about some of our experiences in Elkhart, because last week we just approved 3 new construction infills in the historic district.
Oh, wow.
That is a real new thing for us. We've not done that in a long time. So all the things you have to look at as you're considering design and how's it gonna fit in, and yet people will know it's not old, not a fake sense of history, but so it's an interesting experience. So that's what we're looking at. They'll have some snacks, and so if you want to go, and please do, RSVP Brad. He's got his information on that. And last but not least, conference coming up in South Bend in April. Best price if you register this week, so please do if you're going to do that. Tuesday of that week, the 14th of April, that's camp, where you get all kinds of training to be a commission member, board member, so that's a good experience. That's only $25 for that, for one day, or then if you want to stay for conference, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit Friday morning.
Is the camp like a certification program?
It really is just excellent training, but you don't get a certification at
Okay.
the end of it. But it's, just great. The nuts and bolts of how a commission operates.
There's a luncheon also.
There's a lunch that day.
I
Yeah.
will be there.
You're going? Okay,
So
that way
it's
you're
really
allowed
good.
to report. Everything
You guys should come too.
Everything you learn.
It's good. And if you do go to conference on Thursday morning, they're going to have a breakfast just for historic preservation commissions. So 8 o'clock in the Scottish Rite Building.
Which is,
When is that, April?
April
7 o'clock.
14th is the Tuesday,
Yes.
and then 15th, 16th, 17th
Yeah, I
is
had
the
it at
conference.
home.
okay, our next meeting then is on March 23rd at 5 o'clock. We'll do our planning session, and then our regular meeting will be at 6. Okay?
So, when we send out the agenda, the planning session is just the board, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
not that's not public knowledge.
No.
Okay.
Or does that have to be an executive session?
Pardon me?
Or does that have to be an executive
I
session?
guess that's true. That's an executive session.
Yeah, you have to list it as that, Lily.
So you
Yes,
have
it's
to send
executive
out a public-
session.
Oh, look, on the agenda listed as an executive.
because otherwise the public would be
Yeah.
excluded,
Yeah.
Executive session.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
So I move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Yeah.
We're done.
We're done.
7:30.
All right.